Hey, we are live on the air. Brr. A small percent of the people, inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft, The Sinking City depicts an era in which ethnic, racial, and other minorities were frequently mistreated by society. Anyway, I thought that was a kind of a very profound way to deal with their depiction of racial inequities in their game. So, hats off to FROGWARES for threading the needle and keep trying to keep everyone happy and pretty much succeeding. Pretty much succeeding. 'Cause people were still mad that history deniers. It's like, but anyway. So this is the Sinking City. Okay, and why is this game genius? I'm about to close the game. I got to the point where it's like that Mass Effect, Dead Island. Like once you go there, that's it. So if you want to tidy up your affairs, and that's what it calls it. It says if you want to tidy up you're going to want to tidy up your affairs because we're going to the end of the game, and there's no going back. So it's an open world game that kind of lets you play and then kicks you to the curb, kicks you into that final phase. Okay, so why is this game genius? Let me start with, because there's going to be a lot more positive than negative. Obviously, it's a genius video. That means I really like this game. And I closed this thing. There's a lot of content in here. It is, let me say this before I get into the negatives. It is way better than the Call of Cthulhu. By far, way better. The Call of Cthulhu is kind of a walking simulator with mild investigative elements, zero to little to no combat, which is just hanky anyway. It's not a bad looking game, and in fact, the Call of Cthulhu to me is probably more next gen graphics, but kind of toward the lower end of that spectrum. The thing about the Sinking City is, I would say it's closer to 7th gen than 8th gen as far as graphics and textures and things like that. And I think a compromise was made. You have to remember that this game had a very troubled development. They had a lot of publisher issues. They weren't getting paid. They weren't paying out. One of the publishers wasn't paying out royalties. It was pulled off of Steam and the Epic Store. It was pulled from Xbox and PlayStation stores, and you could get it only on their site or through some other outlet. And I just went to the website and I failed to recall what it was. But I found this as a used copy in a pawn shop, thank God, because it's great. It's very Lovecraftian. They touch on so many elements of the Lovecraftian mythos. I have read all of the major. I can't say that I've read everything that he produced, but I'm definitely probably in that 80 percentile. I've read a lot of Lovecraftian stories. A lot of them aren't very long either. A lot of them are short stories. You can get some really good compilations out there where it's all of his smaller stories. The interview or the statement of Randolph Carter is just classic, short, and it was Lovecraft at his best. So if and you can find it online for free. Do yourself a favor and read the statement of Randolph Carter. Just if you are even curious about Lovecraft, the statement of Randolph Carter. So the Sinking City. I would say graphically it is that there is a negative element to the graphics. The graphics are in a lot of ways are very like 360 era, 7th gen, which isn't bad. They're good. They're to the end of that generation. But I'm going to say, graphically, I don't know if I would call this next gen. Okay. Graphically, I wouldn't call it next gen. Or even current gen. I would call it 7th gen graphics. And the NPC interaction is 7th gen. Good 7th gen, but 7th gen. Okay? NPCs just kind of appear sometimes. Like, the NPCs are good. Like, it creates... This is the thing that... anyway, let me stay focused. I'll stay focused on the negative, because there isn't that much. There isn't that much. But I would say, graphically, like texture work, pop in, sometimes when an area loads, most of the time, the NPCs are already populated and walking around doing things. And some of the NPC, just their circuit of motion is quite impressive. Okay. But sometimes they just the system pops them in, like they just appear, and that's like stuff that you saw when games really scaled up to open world in the 7th gen. So there's a little bit of 7th gen vibe going on there as far as the textures pop in and NPCs. Okay, let me just say that. And NPCs do have dialogue. It's like just enough to create the atmosphere. They give you just enough to create the atmosphere. And that is the only negative things that I have to say. Some of the textures and some of the graphics are what I would consider quality 7th gen. NPC motions and just their static motions that they do are good, but they're 7th gen, and they're mainly there to create atmosphere. There is more interactions and dynamics or mechanics with the NPCs than most games, but it's it's good. It's solid. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's not. It's good, and there's a lot of surprising mechanics sometimes with the NPCs where you're like, oh wow, that's interesting. Like you'll have two random people having a fight, or you'll come across somebody getting mugged, or somebody just abusing somebody. Sometimes you'll come across like a crying woman and a guy berating her. And things like that are actually what I would consider 8th gen. So there are some NPC mechanics that are what I would consider 8th gen. Okay. They make statements. If you bump into them, they recoil and they chastise you. Now this is what's cool, and let's leave that. We've left what I don't like. What I would say is it's not even what I don't like. I would just say you could say that the graphics are 7th gen, good 7th gen, and the NPC mechanics are a little early 8th gen. Okay. But there are some things about the NPC mechanics that I think are very good. So one of those things is some of those random things that you come across where it's just interpersonal interactions. A lot of them are negative. You can break up fights. You can go in there and hit one of the guys who's being too aggressive, and they'll scatter. They'll run away. But so it's mainly, I would say, the only negatives that I would say here are more technical. They're more technical, and based on their problems with the publishers and a little bit of trouble development, it's forgivable. It's an Unreal game. You can tell it's done in Unreal. You got the same little glitches and things that you run in with Unreal, but it still looks beautiful. So top marks, okay, we've done with the negative. Top marks for the atmosphere. The atmosphere that they create in this game is amazing. And the city itself is huge. Okay, it is huge. There are multiple areas or neighborhoods or boroughs, whatever you want to call it. It's about half. It's about, I don't know, 7, 8 areas, 9 areas um, that you can explore, and they're big, and you can walk them all. You can fast travel. There are fast travel phone booths that you have to discover. Again, this is a small mechanic that I think really, really makes sense. And I'll tell you what, let's just jump in so I can show you a little of this game. I'm almost at the end. I'm almost at the end. So now I have everything I need. The seal and the knowledge of how to enter Cathaganar. I fear that there may be no coming back, so it's time to put all my affairs in order. When I'm ready, I'll return to my room in the Devil's Reef Hotel to rest and prepare for Cathaganar, something. So, but anyway, so before we go and do that, I thought, okay, this is the perfect time because, I'm not missing anything. I really wanted to play this. I devoured this game. It is absolutely gorgeous. There are a lot of little side quests and a lot of little vignettes where you discover Lovecraftian situations where people are engaging in cannibalism, they're engaging in rituals. There's all kinds of hybrids between men and fish, like from Innsmouth. They call them Innsmouthers. There's one story, and I don't want to spoil any of it, but there's like trapping people in the mirror realm, and there's people messing with the old gods and magic and all kinds of things. You stumble across all kinds of shady and just regular shady corruption. Shady corruption, violence, intimidation, racketeering, and it's all within this Lovecraftian backdrop. It's absolutely genius. I mean, it's just beautiful. And I'm at the end of this game. Now, this is toward the end. There are underwater segments on top of that. So I have to say, between the Call of Cthulhu and the Sinking City, the Sinking City has way more content in the base game. Way more to do, way more freedom. The Call of Cthulhu is completely linear. It's a walking simulator interactive movie, essentially. This is a real open world experience. A lot of the city is underwater, and you have to boat. You can walk areas and boat areas. And like I said, the mechanic of the phone booths, let's go look here at the map. You have to use the map frequently. The really cool thing about this game is it does not insult your intelligence. You don't have to press X every time you go to a ladder. Okay? It expects you to learn the mechanics of the game. It expects you to be able to deduce where locations are. It doesn't give you automatic waypoints. It doesn't say, oh, well, you have to go here now. Here's a little dotted line. You just follow this and it'll lead you right there. No, you have to dig up clues. You have to do research. Here's the other thing, too. There's a police station, a hospital, and a newspaper where they have an archive. And you have to go to the archive with clues in your casebook, and you have to use the archive to find out a name or an address, or it's typically a location, to get to the next place. Like, you have to go and research where that place is, or you could just like try and walk around and look around and take forever, or you can go use the archive, right? And the clues they give you let you know which archive you could go to. You have to understand, like, are you looking for a business location? Well, then you're probably going to go to City Hall. Are you going to look for a celebrity, somebody that's well known in the community that makes a stir, then you're probably going to want to go to the newspaper. If it's about a crime or the complaint of a crime in the area, you're going to want to go to that police station. It doesn't tell you which one to go to. You have to make that determination. You have to look at the situation and say, I'm looking for a business license. Like at one point in time, you're looking for a guy who's recently married. So where do you file marriage licenses? At a city hall. So you have to go to the city. It doesn't tell you go to the city hall archive. It doesn't say I have to go to the city hall archive. You have to make that deduction. You have to say, well, a marriage license. I'm not going to go to the police station. I'm not going to go to the hospital. I need to go to the city hall and see, if they have filed a license, a marriage license. And yes, they did, right? So, or a business license. When you look for a business under a business license, you go to city hall. You don't go to the cops. You don't go to, So, in that, it is not as handholdy as most of these types of games are. They expect you to do a little deduction, to gather clues, to do some basic interviewing. Nothing like LA Noire, okay? But still, you have to go talk to people, you have to ask them some questions, and you have to gain that information and make some inferences. And there were a few times where I was like, okay, I don't know where to go. So you have to go back into the casebook and you have to review the evidence. And then you will find like, oh, wait a minute, look, it's asking for, it's talking about the history. Oh, and there's a fourth one, the library. So when it's talking about historical references, which it does often, then you need to go to the library and look at their archive. Sometimes it'll reference a book or an author. You have to go to the library and review the archive. And when you go to the archive, you have to place in, and it's better to show you than tell you, but let's look at our casebook. So here you have the map. You're going to use this a lot. Oh, it's not populating it because I'm underwater. But it doesn't give you waypoints. You have to establish waypoints. So the game doesn't do the waypoints, but you can set a waypoint based on the evidence given. And I'll show you that in a little bit. All right, so here's your casebook. This is where the latest. So that's what it's telling you. This is a key. The ancient otherworldly artifact. You spend a lot of the game chasing this thing, and you currently have it. The seal was used in rituals by those who lived here in ancient times before the city was even founded. It's incomplete. So there are the last thing I need to do is go find the pieces of this thing that are in the city on these huge monoliths. So they had an earthquake and a massive flood that saturated most of the city. And these huge stone monoliths have erected in different locations throughout the city. And they are huge. They are beyond huge. I mean, they are bigger than a skyscraper. And it's really dramatic when you see them, especially off in the distance. They just dominate the sky. So, anyway, let's look at this one, Lost at Sea. So this is some of the evidence you can accumulate. So I got a key. Now you go to what's called the Mind Palace when you have these major clues. You have minor clues and you have like this key, what they call key evidence. And key evidence is placed in your Mind Palace where you connect the dots between major pieces of evidence to come to a conclusion. And usually that conclusion is one of two conclusions. It's either you're going to side with this individual, if you had an agreement with them, you're going to honor your agreement, or you're going to flip on them and you're going to go the other direction. And, it's again, and the funny thing is that there's a lot of gray area decision making. Like everybody that you deal with has an agenda, and then they also have other elements to who they are that are unsavory. So you might want to help this one person because of a certain reason, but then you'll discover in your investigation something unsavory about them that will make you flip on them. Like in one, I'll give you a for instance. In one, you're framed for a murder. and you go to a politician who was a witness who claims you were the killer. He's the only witness. So you can kill him, you can frame him, or you can do a favor for him and he will recant his testimony and free you. But he has a rich mother who he wants to inherit his money, and he states, if you go and kill her, poison her, and then I'll get my inheritance, I'll recant my statement. So he frames you, and then he wants you to go kill his mother. You know, he's basically blackmailing you to commit a murder on his own mother, right? But he can free you. Now, there's another way to go about it, where you have to strong arm the guy who was blackmailed into actually committing the crime. A guy actually committed the crime and killed this guy, who later turns up alive. So, spoilers. So, you go to talk to this guy, and you see a lot of times these scenarios, even though you pick a particular path, don't play out the way you think they're going to play out. And that's what I love about this game, is they are always undermining your assumptions. And that's great, because that's what real life is like. All right? We all have our assumptions of how things should work and how they do work. And then you go actually find out and you're like, whoa, this is way different than I thought. So if you like that, if you like being surprised and having twists and turns in your stories, this game is for you, baby. It really is. It's really good. But so anyway, you can also frame him for the crime. You can go strong arm the guy. And then when you go strong arm the guy, he says, look, I was blackmailed. Go talk to the guy who blackmailed me. Then you go to the guy who blackmailed me, and he's the guy that saved your life earlier in the game, but he's still a piece of shit. But he saved your life. And he basically says, look, I saved your life. Normally you'd already be dead because you're involved in this situation. I'm not going to kill you. He goes, basically, I'm going to save your life a second time, because they kidnapped the guy's wife and kid and cut off her finger to motivate him to do the crime. So you got a captive kid and a captive wife, and you got this guy that saved your life, and you have, one of three options. It's like you can just go to jail and game over. You can frame the politician. You can kill this guy that saved you and, free the blackmailer. But the guy who was blackmailed, he still committed murder. So it's like, it's all very, very gray and ambiguous. There's not a whole lot of like purely good outcomes. Even though you can try to have like a pure outcome, but nobody is 100% innocent in this game, including yourself. At one point in the game, which I thought was great, you have to go back and interact with the police chief. And he basically says, do you want me to go over your record? Because you get bailed out, and he gives you a dressing down. And everything that you've done in the game he knows about. Like if you just shot a citizen, like you can just shoot anybody on the street. You can just kill a citizen or whatever. You can knock into people. And if you do these things, the game knows, and the police chief brings up every misdeed, everything you did in that game. Not specifically, but he'd be like, oh yeah? Well, what about that citizen you killed? Was that an accident? Well, oh yeah, really? What about those fights, you've been beating up on newcomers or, what about, and it's like, if you've actually done it, the game knows it, and the police chief holds you, he reads your record. He reads your record. In fact, hold on, let's go see. Let me go see. Police record. See if I can find it. Here's a threat note that you get. You look so silly in that hat, newcomer. I think I'll keep it along with your scalp, right? So you get like threatening letters in your room. Let's see, probably city. See, there's the coordinates. No. Yeah, there's like KKK in this game. That's not it. No. Newspaper, the monoliths. Monoliths started to appear after the flood. Huh. Was it in my casebook? Fleeing Phoenix. Okay. It's probably in here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's got to be in here. There you go. There's my police record, okay? So there's a photo of my character, front and side. So it says, status bachelor, residence unknown, private detective, crime record, looting, which you do the whole game, right? Breaking and entering, which you do the whole game. You're smashing locks. You're going into places that are locked up. So yeah, you do break and enter all the time in this game. And violation of private property, which you totally do. Disorderly conduct. Again, when you break up these fights, like when I see two hobos fighting or I see somebody beating on somebody, I go over there and I smack them, right? Disorderly conduct. Boat theft, where you're constantly taking these little ferry boats around, and for some reason they call it boat theft. Negligent use of weapons. Yes, I have accidentally shot people out on the street. Assault, guilty. Suspected murder of Johan Vanderberg. And that's what they pinch you on. And this whole quest is getting out of that. Is you get bailed out and then you have to vindicate yourself. So, and that's one of many really cool quests. And even the fetch quests are cool. Like there's one fetch quest where there's a story by H.P. Lovecraft where the way people travel in space, you don't need a physical body. They just put your brain in a jar, and the brain is what is like projected into outer space. And with this like ancient tech. And I don't have chat up or anything like that, so I don't even know. Hold on. Let me see. Maybe I can work it out. Okay. There's nobody in the chat, so that's good. All right, pop out chat. Yes. Just in case anybody jumps in and joins me, I want to be as polite as I possibly can be. Right? Okay. So, you have all of these things you've done. Right? I wondered about that. One of the cool things, like the NPC mechanics, I'll tell you what, let's just play a little bit. This is the priestess. Now, again, you can side with her or you can side with the scientist that captures her and tortures her. So, again, this is where you get into nobody is completely savory. You know, nobody is completely without blemish. Like this ancient priestess is resurrected from her own ashes, and she has knowledge that an archaeologist wanted, so he could get into. This is one of many outfits, but this is one of the more flamboyant outfits. There's a lot of cool outfits in this game too. So, but she also drinks blood, human blood, to perpetuate her life. So she is essentially, and she's got an elongated skull. She's essentially a vampire, an ancient Incan vampire sorceress, right? So she offers you a deal where she's like, look, because she escapes from the archaeologist who was literally torturing her to death and then resurrecting her again because she couldn't be completely killed as something. And so he would burn her body up and then re-resurrect her and torture her some more. But she would never tell him because he was not of a special group of chosen folk or whatever, of which you are. You're like the seed, or you're chosen, or there's these groups of people that down through history, every so many hundreds of years, there's this cycle where humanity is given the option to release these old gods or keep them imprisoned or whatever. There's a whole lore and mythos to it. But the thing of it is I sided with her. Mainly, I had an agreement with the archaeologist to capture her, right? And he wanted to destroy her. So there's a lot of replayability in the sense of you make these choices, and then the game progresses, and that's it. Like, you're given the opportunity to go either way, and you do that in the Mind Palace, where you look at the evidence, right? You look at the evidence, and you make an assumption. So when you go into Fleeing Phoenix is the most recent one. Usha promised to tell me how to get into the ancient structure under Oakmont. In exchange, she wants me to kill Joseph Hill. Right? And you over here in your brain palace, you say a man named Raymond saw Usha's attack and seems connected to her somehow. So Raymond was the archaeologist's assistant, and Usha winds up taking over his mind to interact with you so she doesn't scare you off. Which is subtle, right? So I like that. And then, so I flipped on the archaeologist. I flipped on him. And instead of, you don't find that out right away. He keeps that from you. And then through your investigation, you find that he has been torturing her, literally destroying her. Now, is she a vampire who kills people to live? Yeah. But this archaeologist, again, who's killed no one alive, okay, he's killed, like this woman is a reanimated dead person. But she's alive now. I mean, she's a living, breathing person. But she was a dead person. The archaeologist revived her. So he doesn't attribute her, like he says to you, she had her time. She had her life. I just reanimated her to gain some information. Right? But even so, and so he feels that she should not be given the same status as a living person. So it's okay to torture and kill her. I didn't agree with him. So I had to flip on him. Now, she says, because the sorcerer, or the archaeologist who she refers to as a sorcerer, he has the power to control her if he gets her under his will again. So she's like, well, you got to kill him. So now I got to commit murder. So the only guy that never committed murder was the archaeologist. She kills guys and drinks their blood to survive. And I killed the archaeologist for her to progress the game. Now, but you're going to have to, he said that they would have to destroy her. They would have to destroy her once they recaptured her. Okay? So, again, that's another whole way you have to make a judgment call. Is it okay to resurrect this person, torture them for their information to death, and then resurrect them and do it again? So you could say the archaeologist did kill this woman over and over again. So again, is there a shining white knight on a horse in this scenario? No. That's what's great about it. That's very Lovecraftian. That's very Lovecraftian. Like, nobody's a saint in Lovecraft novels, baby. So we're going to get out of here. That was the Temple of Usha. And there are underwater sections where you kind of walk through, and it's kind of cool. It's nice. There are different areas of the game that you can visit, and you can go underwater and find different things. And so, Tylord, what's Tylord have to say? I'm listening. I'm wanting to download this on Switch. And that's the only store that still carries it. You absolutely should. It's really good. It's got a lot of replayability too, bro. I mean, I want to go back and play through it again and choose some of the other decisions I made, because they're all interesting and they all like flip the script on you, and you're constantly getting like ambushed as well. You're sent to certain places by certain people that have built trust up with you. Like, you'll do like 3 fetch quests and they're supposed to give you some information. Then they give you the information and they say, well, if you want that other information, just go here and talk to so-and-so. And then you go there and it's a freaking ambush to try to kill you. I mean, again, this game is all about flipping your assumptions, undermining your assumptions. It is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. This is the cemetery. There's a really fun quest with this, too. All of these tombstones have really ironic, salty little comments to them. In love with explosions. He came from faraway land once every 6 months. May he rest in peace. Let's see if we can find a few other ones. There's a lot of really funny ones. Let's see here. Died for the sins of others. Party alias. I wonder what would happen if I pressed this button. Just all kinds of little snarky, little funny comments. And there is kind of a gallows humor. It's not, it doesn't like break, it doesn't do comic relief, but there is a bit of gallows humor here. And it's just beautiful. Look at this. Look at this broken angel, a fallen angel sitting here. It just looks beautiful, doesn't it? Oh, and by the way, the politician in this game references Donald Trump, because his campaign slogan is "Make Oakmont Great Again." Don't dig, filth inside. Look, Mom, I'm on a tombstone. I only wish to speak. I don't know why that's funny. It's got to be an in-joke. That's got to be an in-joke somewhere. What is that? What is this? Is this the mortuary or what is it? Oh, it's the crematorium? Yeah, so, this is the atmosphere. But if, what I'm trying to say is, like, the graphics, like, this is 7th gen. It's 7th gen. And that's not bad, but it's not great. Like, look. Look at it. Look at it. Come on, dude. Fuck it, man. Let's go bowling. It's the dude. So they just reference the Big Lebowski. So, it's that kind of thing where you're like, you're looking at it. It looks good. The atmosphere. See, it's not like the interiors really show. There's a lot of reused architecture, like interior architecture is reused a lot. Like all the apartments are the same apartment, just kind of redecorated. All of the warehouses are the same warehouse. They're just redecorated. So there's no, there's a lot of that. Again, that's where I think of 7th gen. I think, okay, that's a 7th gen thing. I don't know what this is. This is like this little area over here. I don't know if it goes anywhere. I don't think it does. So, but it just looks inviting. You know what I mean? You can climb on a lot of stuff. There's a small side quest where you have to look for missing bodies that were grave robbed, and you come across this group of grave robbers. There's all kinds of really cool stuff in here. Truly. And again, even when you just go exploring, like look at the atmosphere. This is one of these monoliths. It's got like a small hole out of there. That's one of those monolith stones, but these are called the 5 fingers, and they're small in comparison to the real monoliths. So I just want you to kind of look at this game. Now, here's the map. You use this thing all the time because, again, it doesn't handhold you. So you can go, this is how it works. Like you go into your casebook and let's see if we're fleeing Phoenix. There's a way inside underground vaults through the central monolith. To open this passage, I have to complete the seal by locating its 3 missing parts called cave fingers. I should start my search at the central monolith. The fire worshippers who gather around it should know the location of the other 2. Right. Okay, so it down on the bottom there, it says Y for place on map. Where is the central monolith? I don't know. But this might be it. Yeah, this is an old church here. Again, is it marked as an old church? No, I just know that. And Advent is the center of the map, essentially. Right? Advent is the center of the map, or the central pillar. So there's all of these locations. Like these are marked. Like this is the hospital is marked. This is a hotel. That's your hotel. This is the newspaper. That's the police station. And these star things that you see here, these are fast travel points that you have to uncover. So you have to walk the city, and it really pays dividends. It's beautiful to walk the city anyway. But when you walk around the city, you will come across phone booths. And then the phone booths serve as fast travel points. And if you notice, like every fast travel point within a block or two, there is a major point of interest. You see? This is around major points of interest. And they really help to speed up the gameplay. But if you don't go and find them, then you're walking, baby. Like, I'm serious. If you don't go and find them, you're walking. You're walking to whatever location that you're trying to find. But that says mystery. So this is where we're trying to go, right there. And you can set any number of markers here. See, look at all these different markers. You can mark them as danger, mystery, treasure, blocked passage. There you go. So we're going to set that there. So you set the markers. The game doesn't set the markers. Except for like a few areas when you discover an infested area, it will mark it where it's just creatures that you have to fight. And all the best loot is in these areas. And then major landmarks are marked. But that's it. So you have fast travel, major landmarks, infested areas, And then you set for the quests and stuff, you set the markers. So you're not led there, you have to do it. It's kind of like IKEA. You have to assemble your own game. Okay, so we are going to go find ourselves a fast travel point, which again, this is a major spot, so one is very close. And this is navigating this game right here. Now, this is a flooded part of the city. And you can see the atmosphere is amazing. It's always raining. There's a day-night cycle. The mechanics don't change in the day-night cycle, but there you go. There's a phone booth, right? So you hit that, and then you come over here, because this is where the fire cult, and they're called like the cult of the forest or some crap, I forget. But they're also worship fire. And this is, I'm supposing, is where the central pillar is. So again, it didn't tell you which church to go to. But in the previous parts of the game, you dealt with the fire cult, and that's where you did an investigation of them. So it's like, well, that's the most likeliest place it's going to be. It doesn't say, oh, you need to go here. So if you have a low IQ, it's probably, this game is going to be very frustrating to you, because it does not lead you by the hand. It gives you everything you need to know, but you have to do some thinking to get moving. And with myself, I love that kind of thing. And there were a couple of times where I was like, man, I really had to go back and review the evidence. And I always found it in the evidence. I'm like, oh, okay. I just ignored this little clue. I need to go to this particular area, or I need to go talk to this person, or I need to go and research in an archive, which is what you would do in investigation anyway. So that's the library right there. So this is the central pillar they're talking about. I told you they're not tiny. They're not tiny. I mean, look at the scale of that is ridiculous. And this outfit is an unlocked outfit. Now you can go into like a secret, like a power that you have, which is like this. And it reveals secrets. If there are any secrets, it reveals where they are. It helps to dispel illusions. There's all kinds of like wall illusions or object illusions that you have to dispel. So there's the central pillar rising out of the back of the church. So what they're trying to, again, they're trying to allude to the fact is this church was built on this site because it was an ancient, and I'm talking like, you know, far beyond the dawn of history, ancient site. It's literally rising right out of the back of the church. You know. So that is the central monolith, is what I'm hearing. See if we can get up there and do any harm. We're supposed to gather something from these monoliths, right? So there it is, the big thing. Supposed to start at the central monolith, which is what this, I'm supposing it is. So again, I don't know. They don't handhold you. So that is, look at the atmosphere. Just look at the atmosphere of that. I mean, this is the whole game. This is the whole game, is like the whole town. And each section has its different characteristics. There's a Salvation Harbor that's like dirt roads, and you know, it's just where all the poor people go, and you know, it's just like, it's rough. It's rough. Oh, you hear the bell tolling in the church? It's amazing. So I called it a Sullen, Sodden masterpiece because it is. This is an infected zone or an infested area. Oh, there's like monoliths right here. And there's usually good loot like right at the entrances, so you can like get in and get something crazy and get out. I'm going to reload all my crap here. Ooh, look at that shadow passing over me. This is a submachine gun. This is one of the more recent weapons. Let's see if I can... You have to craft your ammunition. Your throwables and your medical supplies have to be crafted. So we're just going to lead with a Molotov. How about that? That's medication for... let's see what Tyler had to say. Hold on. This sounds a lot like Elder Scrolls. It is. It reminds me a lot. I don't know why, but it reminds me a lot of Skyrim, right? It really does. It reminds me a lot of Skyrim. Boom! Now, if you look on the left side, there's a blue line that's decreasing. That's my sanity meter. Just like a lot of Cthulhu games, they have a sanity meter. And you begin to hallucinate. And then eventually, shadow creatures appear and start... Oh, look at that. It's got like a green glow up there. Oh. Is this where a seed has to be found? So when you go to the nether realm, like whatever this is, this extrasensory, that also takes away your sanity. So you can stay in here for a little while, but eventually it is going to undermine your sanity. And you start to hallucinate. And then you can take your other medication, which is an antipsychotic. So you have health shots and you have antipsychotic medication. So not really getting a whole lot of good loot here. Oh, health kit. Don't really need it right now. Let's go with a shotgun. So you have a collection of weapons. You have a like a 1911 38, and then you have a like a 45. He's dead. Oh. He's dead. This guy spits crap at you and he's a hit scanner, so it's painful. It is painful. They're hit scanners, and they hit you like unbelievable accuracy. Right? So the interiors are kind of like meh, but the exterior is where they really spent the time, and it's gorgeous. I mean, again, even for like it's an 8th gen title, but even for what is this? Oh, this is the Bank of Oakmont. Okay, we'll go inside. So again, the interiors just repeat. They're like the same layout, but they they're redecorated. So in that sense, that's why I say this is like 7th gen. You know, it's like, okay, the same floor plan for every like building in the city. And you know, there are some differences. I mean, the apartments are different than the you know, like a business office like this is. But every business office is this business office. There's your melee attack. Again, by the time you get to this level with this equipment, you're one-shotting these guys. But they are quite a nuisance at the beginning of the game. Beginning of the game, they do quite a bit of harm. They still harm you. Oh my god, bro. Die. Alright? Okay, these guys are like dogs. These are all from people. They're all from flesh. He's almost got me. He's almost got me. He's almost got me. Unbelievable, dude. Freaking die. Freaking die. Okay, that was bad. That was that didn't go as well. But what you see, what you don't want to do is you don't want to get cornered. If you get cornered, you're kind of screwed. See, he hit me. He hit me. He grazed me with that. Okay, there you go. Okay, so as long as you have enough ammo, you're fine. But if you run out of ammo, you run low on ammo, you're boned. So you're constantly like scavenging and creating ammo. There you go. So a little bit better. And the guns with the really good ammo, or the really good guns like the shotgun and the machine gun, that ammo is expensive to make. As far as like in-game, and it is, you know, it's harder to scavenge. So what you wind up doing is relying on your smaller pistols because it's cheaper to make the ammo and easier to make the ammo. So, but this is typical of what you do. Is like you go into these areas and you find like, okay, here's bank vaults, right? Here are vaults in the bank. And you can't loot any of them, which is a shame, but... And you wind up walking around and just looting crap. Okay. And health is rarely ever a problem. There's plenty of loot materials to create health items. And antipsychotic medication. You usually find it in the buildings. And it's rare that you go into an antipsychotic state or a psychotic state. It's rare. So there you go. So there's a little bit. Now here's nighttime and it's raining. Right? It's nighttime and it's raining. So you get a little taste of that atmosphere. Right? So let's go find ourselves a fast travel area. So, I don't know what I'm doing as far as this is that area that I'm supposed to be at. Let's see. Lore, skills. Oh, I got 2 knowledge points. So, here's the upgrade system, right? This is the system where you can upgrade your combat, how many bullets you can carry, how powerful the gun or accurate the gun is. Here's vigor. You know, it deals with health. I upgraded that early. There's a couple of skills here, like you don't get falling damage. And when you swim, if you stay in the water too long, eels attack you. And it lowers the damage or something. So it's like, eh. And then this is probably your mind, right? So your vigor and your mind. So these I'm probably interested in, because these reduce the amount of materials you need for crafting. which you're constantly doing. There you go. Wow. So, you know, I don't have very much left. I only got 2 areas that, and I'm fully upgraded. So I don't really know what to do as far as this. This is obviously where I'm supposed to go. Starting with the central one, right? This is the central pillar, I think. So let's go back to the casebook. So it's time to put all my affairs in order. So I already manually saved at this point, so we can go into that, but I don't know if it's going to let me go and find... Usha promised to tell me how to get into the ancient structure. Right, okay. Usha hides underwater in her tomb. There's a way inside through the central monolith. To open this passage, I have to complete the seal by locating its 3 missing parts called cave fingers. It sounds like something you order at like a fast food restaurant. I should start my search at the central monolith. The fire worshippers who gather around it should know the location of the other 2, right? So supposedly, so where is that central pillar? Is that not the central pillar? Like, I may not have the central pillar. Like, where is the central pillar? I don't know. See, there's this. And that's the cemetery. See, this is what I thought is the central pillar. And I don't know where that is. The central one, which is here. But I don't know if it's going to let me. Alright, so I need to go back this way. So there are moments in this game like this where you're like, okay, I think I know. And sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're out of sequence or whatever, which is okay. And then sometimes you're not right. And you think you are, but you're not. I mean, look at that pillar, man. Look at that thing. Jesus God. The scale is really cool. Like, I couldn't believe how big they made these. They're just crazy big. I mean, that's Lovecraftian. That big. Now, you see that cop just, like, manifested out of nowhere? He just, like, popped in, you know? And there's, like, pop in. There's texture pop in and stuff like that. And that kind of reminded me of Skyrim and 7th Gen and, you know, it just all the stuff you dealt with games in that era. Dude, I'd love to help a fella out, but the library's over there. I wonder... See, it won't let me in. And, you know, a lot of places the front doesn't open, but there's like a side entrance that you can go into. But I don't know where you would go for that. See, I think you're going to have to enter this pillar after you initiate the next step in the adventure. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, we can go, because I already saved, because I didn't want to get myself committed and not be able to go back. because I want to look around and I want to explore more. And there's sections, you know, that I've explored a lot of this game, but there's still stuff I'm sure I haven't uncovered. So I'll tell you what, where is the... There it is. Let's go initiate the end of this game. No going back. This is it. All your decisions, and it does have a Mass Effect vibe as far as that goes. Like you have to... There are crossroads where you have to pick a lane. Pick a lane, you know? Alright, so there's the Devil's Reef. And there you go. So all the quests, and I rarely would say this, but all the quests in this game are good. They're all good. They're all good. Now, some are a little fetchy, but even the fetch quests are fun in this game. They managed to make the fetch quests interesting. And you're always walking into some disturbing situation. There's always like it's bad, and then you find something else that makes it like awful. You know, it's just like even worse. It's really, really good. All right, here we go. So if you don't want spoilers, there's going to be spoilers at this point. Fair warning. But look at this. Look at this game. Would you look at it? Just look at it. I mean, the atmosphere here is just amazing. I should really take you on a little bit of a tour. But just, I want you to look. There's like a ferry. There's a lot of really cool little interactions, like with NPCs. Like, they did a pretty good job with NPCs. They're pretty transparent, but they don't have much dialogue, except for, like, within the quests. But there's still cool stuff. Like, there's a couple of guys that are sailing around with a ferry. And you actually have to look at the street markers. Like, there's another monolith over there. Right, the boat's easy to navigate, and it's just a lot of fun. And then what'll happen is you'll come across this like this hole in the wall where you can pull up to it and jump in and see what's in there and loot it. And sometimes you run into like a little vignette. You know, like you can pull over here, you can hop on that deck. See, look, okay, here's a good example. It's just a hole in the wall. It could be a quest location, but when it's not serving as a quest location, it's just a place. So you can go in here, and it's a sunken apartment. Right? And you can see where things are kind of samey, right? What do you got here? That's a health kit. We don't need it. Okay, that means there's a monster here. And it's a biggin. He hit me. Or I got some splash damage. So I'm going to light him up. Molly's really helped with these big boys. This is just a single shot bolt action rifle. It's got a really long load time. Oh, crap, bro. I'm boned. I am boned. He's dead. Now you can see I'm starting to hallucinate. Because my mind is like, I'm going to let myself let's wait and hallucinate. Let you see what the hallucinate. Oh, well, I killed him. You start hearing whispers and voices in your head. And you start seeing hallucinations and... It's very cool effect what they do. It's a very cool effect what they do. Okay, so there you go. So there's some good loot right there. Oh, I actually found a clue I have never found before. So I found, like, I just walked into a place, I found some stuff. It says, don't open the window, there's a void behind it. Don't listen to the music from outside, don't stop playing or it'll engulf your thoughts. Be loud as you can, you're alive until you stop making sounds. The sheet music is an extremely complex overture for violin. It's doubtful that anyone would be able to play it. Okay, well, we don't know what the hell is going on with that. But it's a clue. It's a clue, and I guess I've never been at this location. Because I would not have missed that previously. Lots of really good loot here. Okay, so either I was here before and I missed it, or I've never been here. This is a new find, which is really cool. And that was that. I just found a little clue out of nowhere. And it's now in my lore. So, yeah, very cool. There's no basement because it's underwater. A lot of times there'll be a basement. So you got to see the transition there. Right? So easy on, easy off. Yeah, we'll keep going. So this is, this is part of the Sunken City area, right? This is part of the Sunken City. And which side was that monolith on? I don't know. I'll take a guess and go over here. So, I mean, just look at the atmosphere. I mean, do you see the shark? You see the shark that's like just caught as part of that? I mean, it just looks great. It just looks great. Like, I can see FROGWARES' influence on the Call of Cthulhu game. But it's like, who cares? Is that an oversized door? It looks, well, way big, doesn't it? It doesn't look like a human door. Oh. Yeah. Sorry, dude. And there's a loot box here, right? And there's all kinds of stuff in this game like that. Let's see. I love the shotgun. Ooh, I got tons of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I got a lot of really good loot. Yeah, okay. So he's tending to his buddy over there. When you get up on the textures, it's not bad, but, it's 7th gen. I don't even recall this little section here. This may be a new section. Like I said, there's a lot. This game is big. There's a lot of area to cover. And you tend to spend a lot of time in the same areas around the major population centers. Bro, what? This is like the police station, maybe? Where am I at? Oh, that's the police station, yeah. And if you point your gun at somebody... see, they just popped in. They just, like, magically appeared. So there's problems with, like, popping in NPCs. The NPCs aren't bad. It's just they pop in. Now watch. This guy, they'll drop their shit and run. See, I just drew the gun. That's all I did was... I brandished the gun. Now, sometimes when you brandish a gun, which is kind of cool, they'll pull a gun and shoot at you. And you have to kill them. So it's like when you brandish a gun, that does get reported to the cops. So it's funny. if you pull your gun on a cop, like if I brandish my gun to this cop, he will draw his weapon and start firing.
Don't waste my time.
Yeah, whatever, dude. So here's the cop archive, right? And this is how all the archives work, but they work in different categories. So if you're looking for something, oh, and by the way, you have to align your casebook evidence with what you're looking for, and it'll put a little symbol in the corner to let you know that this is the right clue to point you to the direction of the archive. So it does give you that much help. And that is good, because sometimes you're like, well, is it this information or that information? So it lets you know with a tiny little icon in the corner. I don't think it's going to show me anything. But you literally have to go on to the right evidence. So let's go to casebook. Okay. And we're going to go to something like this. Let me see. Self-defense. So, Billy Drunnen. Well, let's stay on this. We'll stay on this one, and we'll see if it'll highlight any evidence. Found a piece of map for the southern part of Salvation Armor. Yeah. It's not going to highlight because I've already done it. But let's just say like this one is, you know, I'm looking for a location. So you can pick the crime. Is it a violent crime? So if you got evidence of a violent crime, you tag it. Was it the testimony of an officer? Was it based on, you know, somebody found a gun or a knife? And then you go to where was it? And then you hit Y. And if you get red, that means that, one, you're either not on the right evidence, or you're picking the wrong area or the wrong element, and you have to reread the clue. And when you reread the clue, it will tell you. It's like, okay, this was the testimony of the officer. Okay, oh, I got to go back to I got to go back into here and say, oh, it was testimony of the officer, and then search, right? So you have to be on the evidence, and you have to read the clue carefully, and you have to match up those categories to get a result. And sometimes it takes you a little while. You know, ultimately I found every one of them, but you know, there were some that were quite challenging, you know, and I like that. I want it to be challenging. So, you know, I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to go to that next section. But I think I've given you like a look at what this game is about. A look at the interiors, the exteriors, the casebook, the map, the graphics. You know, you've seen some combat, and you know, I just want to say that you know, this game as a Lovecraftian game is my favorite Lovecraftian game. I haven't played every Lovecraftian game. I've played many of them, but this by far is my favorite, even over the original Call of Cthulhu for Xbox. Which this guy's a cultist. I mean, take a look at this mug. Look at this guy. Yeah, he drops his little stick. And he says, damn newcomer, right? And this is the whole, you know, the atmosphere of this game is just amazing, man. It's just amazing. So, it's just see, that guy just popped out of nowhere. It just popped out of nowhere because they said, we need some more, we need another NPC here. So they went ahead and did that, you know. So, Navigating this game is a joy. There are some underwater sections. There aren't many of them. There are some of them. Look at that. Look at that whale over there. Oh, there's the ferry guys. There's a couple guys in a ferry rolling around. They're actually doing deliveries there, but there's other ones that are like doing transport and such. So we'll just like tag along. Look at the desiccated whale that's there. It's pretty cool, right? And there's all kinds of little secrets to find. Here's an incomplete ship for some reason. That almost looks like you can get up in there, doesn't it? Yeah, that almost looks like you can climb up in there. I bet you can't, though, but it looks like it, though. There's a lot of little places like that, too, where you think you can get to, probably can't. But there's a lot of places you can get to, you'd be surprised. So it's kind of cool, man. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's just a beautiful game. It plays wonderfully. I didn't have any glitches except for the pop-in. And that's it. That is it. Let me see what kind of weapon situation I got here. Not really that good. Not really that good, to be honest. But we'll go in, and this rifle is quite powerful. It's just got a really long wind-up. So I gotta get away from this Joker smoker. Actually, he didn't do much harm to me at all. We're gonna switch over to this situation. Yeah, you're burning, baby. And then we're gonna pull the shotgun in, shotty. We'll see how many you take. 1, 2. There's an hallucination. See, your brain starts to go, and that was a little hallucination that you see. And they're really cool. They like jump up in the midst of combat. And they're freaking scary, bro. They are. They're scary, you know? He's dead. Let's see if I can flame you guys. Alright, let's get the health up. He's right on my ass. Let's see. We'll use the revolvers. He's dead. Shit. They dodge attack. See? They dodge fire. You suck. Alright, I do have one shell. He's dead. Alright, there you go. So I gotta hit the health again. My sanity is falling, but now it's coming back up. See, once you kill all the monsters, your sanity returns. So I almost never use the antipsychotics. Sometimes you have to, though, because if you have a prolonged fight and all of a sudden you notice that your sanity is like failing, dude, I have very little ammo. Ugh. Alright, we're going to have to go this route. He's dead. Oh, I got a knowledge point. Nice. Let's go back to the rifle. Again, it's got a long wind-up. He's done, one shot. See, that wind-up is a long time, but it's a good, powerful weapon. I should have shot his little sack. See, there goes my sanity. It's a little hallucination. Dude, I gotta like scavenge some materials here. Oh, I'm out. Dude, I have so few ammo. He's dead. Oh, look at these guys are the cats. They're like a prawn. They're like shrimp that are wearing a cat's skin. I mean, it's so creepy. That's not a cat. It is literally a prawn wearing a cat skin, or a lobster wearing a cat skin. Which is so freaking creepy, bro. And they just sent out like a dozen of them. That is freaking creepy, bro. That is freaking creepy. See if there's any other good loot, man. That cost me like all of my ammo. Okay, that's pretty good. Just look at the atmosphere. Again, the atmosphere is what sells this game. It's awesome. So this is the infected area. This is where things are like supposedly like super freaking scary and, you know. He's dead. He should have been dead. He's dead. There we go. There you go. Good, good. It's giving me a little bullets. Here, give me some more. I guess this down here is where all the loot was. Yeah, like all the loot was hiding back here. So most of the doors don't open, but a lot do. Surprisingly, you'll come across a lot of them. So now you got to refill. And you got to decide, well, I like the shotgun. I'm going to refill that. The rifle is powerful, but it's so... the windup is so slow. All my explosives, except now I got one Molotov, and that's it. That's tough, because when those make those fights really easy. So I have a knowledge point. These are the only options left. And I may play until I like fully upgrade or fully upgrade and get, and there might be an achievement there or something like that. But again, you could just like roll around and play this game. You can literally just roll around the city in the infected areas, kill the monsters, gain your points, loot, craft, and keep going, you know? And I mean, look at this windswept, dark, gray, sullen, sodden atmosphere that they've got going on here. I mean, it's just freaking awesome. It is freaking awesome. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, let's see who else popped in here. Did Bio pop in? What up, what up? Should I get this on PS4? For Xbox One, you should definitely get this game. You will like this game. This game is for you, bro. This game is for you, brother. All right? The one thing I'm not happy about it is I do kind of look like the fish-faced people from Innsmouth. I want you to pull up what they look like and then look at my face right now. I'm watching you, newcomer. I could almost no makeup could do that as an actor. Almost no makeup. So anyway, I am going to kick off this stream. I'm going to jump off. I'm not going to kick it off. I'm jumping off. And because I don't want to spoil it, I want to go play a little bit. And I'm at the end of the game. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I want you to take a look at this Sullen, Sodden masterpiece. It is a wonderful game. It really deserves a lot more credit. I'm so sorry that it was... that it did not get the recognition it needed. I bet you have to fight Dagon at the end. Well, you know, you actually fight... you go to the Temple of Dagon and you fight, like, the fecund mother who's like related to Dagon in some way, and you have to like throw grenades at her, and it's just like this maw that comes up from under. It's like really cool. Really cool. It's a really cool battle in like an underwater temple. And there's a lot of surprises in this game, and it blew me away. It really did. I've been playing this thing straight for like 3-4 days. Just as soon as I got it, as soon as I loaded it and started playing it, I'm like, oh my God, I really like this. So I just wanted to get online and share that with everybody. This is a masterpiece. Buy this game. Freaking buy this game. BioArmor, you're a genius, bro. You are a genius. So, this is LVA Tour of Fancy Action Now. I might stream again. I don't know. Maybe. But peace out. It's really good to see Tyler and Bio. Always good to see you guys. We all have that same gamer taste. And we're all grown men who play video games and do YouTube. And, we probably don't have 2,000 subscribers between us, but we're still doing it, baby. We're still doing it. We're still fighting the machine. All right, God bless America. This is LVA Toro. Fancy Action Now. Peace out.